أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على محمد وآله الطاهرين صل على محمد وآل محمد. Respected brothers and sisters, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Most of the Muslim countries are poor and uncivilized. Job opportunities are scarce. Good health, good education is rarely offered. You find that most of these countries are ruled by dictators who cannot handle anyone going against them religiously or politically, and that's why they will persecute whoever disagrees with them socially, politically, or religiously. And you find many of these Muslim countries are plagued with fighting and wars and battles and terrorism. In some parts of the Middle East and the Muslim countries, people are afraid to even go to masjids to pray because they fear that a suicide bomber may come and detonate himself even in a masjid, as we saw last year and this year and the year before in Saudi Arabia and the Shia mosques, in Kuwait, what happened last year, Ramadan, in Baghdad, happening all the time, and in other places. So when you look at the Middle East, it's a very gloomy picture, the Muslim countries. It's an uncivilized, backward society, poor, freedoms are very limited, rights are very limited, and you rarely find safety there. But when you come to the West, you find a completely brighter picture. It's a completely different picture. You find the West is much more civilized. You find job opportunities are abundant, much better health. The best hospitals in the world are in the West. The best education, schools, universities is in the West. The best businesses, best paying jobs are in the West. You find much more rights and freedoms given to the citizens of the West. Now, yes, there is no country in the world that gives you full rights and freedom. Every country has its red lines that you can't talk about, even here. But at least you can compare it to the Middle East. There's much more freedom. There's much more rights. What we are doing tonight, holding majalis for the whole month of Ramadan, that we have the opportunity to do here in the US, we would not have the opportunity to do in some countries in the Middle East because it would be banned. So you see all these positive factors in the West, all these negative factors in the East, in the Middle East. And the obvious result is what? The influx of immigrants from the Middle East to the West. All these individuals that have abandoned their homes, that have fled their homes for their lives, and they have come and sought refuge and asylum in the Western countries, like what you see is happening right now. The mass immigration that's happening, migration from Syria and those countries to Europe, because they fear for their lives, because they are afraid that while they are sleeping, a missile will hit their house and kill them. Others, you find that they came to the West because they looked for better job opportunities, better health, better education, and so on and so forth. And what you see now is in the United States of America, some statistics state that the Muslim population is anywhere from 6 to 7 million Muslims living in the US, most of which were immigrants or the children, grandchildren, second, third generation of immigrants, because the converts are the minority. The majority are the immigrants and the children and offsprings of the immigrants. All these individuals that abandoned their land and they came to the US looking for a better life for whatever reason. And what you find is anytime you have such a phenomenon, when lots of people, they leave their countries and their countries have a certain culture, a certain lifestyle, and they come and they move to live with a new society, a new culture that's different from their culture, there is an issue that rises that's called social integration and cultural assimilation. What happens is these people, once they begin to live in that new society, they begin to assimilate in this new society. They begin to melt. They begin to become just like the new society. They lose their old habits, their old customs, their old beliefs, their old practices, and they adapt the new beliefs. They begin to speak just like these new people, sometimes even the dialect. They begin to eat the foods of this new culture. They begin to wear just like these people. Their beliefs, their habits, their lifestyle becomes just like this new society. And what happens here is you find that there are three types of people. These immigrants and their children, there's three types of people. There are certain people that always choose the extremes, and there are people that are moderates. Why? Because you see, when this happens, when these people, they immigrate and they come and they live in a new society, there's a problem that rises. And that problem is called what? Identity crisis. They begin to have a crisis. How do I identify myself? Especially the second generation, the third generation. Am I Arab, Iranian, Pakistani, wherever I came from? Or am I American? How do I identify myself? Am I Arab American? Or am I just American? Or am I just Arab, Indian, Pakistani, Afghani, wherever? How do I associate myself? How do I identify myself? Some people have an identity crisis. And like I said, you find three groups of people here. Some people will take this extreme. And this is usually the older generation. No matter how long they live in the US, they can barely even speak 5 words of English. It's Arabi, Farsi, Urdu, whatever. He wants to stay to his original language. He doesn't even want to, he's not interested in learning the new language, whether it's English or any other language of a European country. And you find he will stay living 50 years in the US, but he still will eat his foods. He wants to eat the kebabs and the rice and the kubaniyas and the tandouris and the foods that he grew up with in his country. He doesn't like the new foods of this new culture. He will stay wearing his clothes. She will stay wearing her abaya, her hijab, whatever. This is one extreme. And then you have a second extreme, those that go to the opposite extreme. They completely melt down in the new society. Their dialect, 100% American. The foods that they eat, and this is the newer generations, the foods that they like and eat are the new foods. And that's why you find our children, they like fries and pizza and burgers much more than they like the traditional foods. Because this is how they associate themselves. They wear just like them. They become just like an American, a Canadian, a British, wherever they may live. And you find sometimes they go as far as even changing their names. Muhammad becomes Michael, Ali becomes Al or Alex, and so on and so forth. For example, there's a man, his name was Muhammad Jum'ah. He changed his name to Michael Friday. Jum'ah is Friday in the Arabic language. This is a real story. So they will even lose their name just to what? Just to say, I'm 100% American. Their identity is only American. They have absolutely nothing to do with their original culture. And then there are those that try to keep a balance in the middle. I'm Arab American. I am Indian, Pakistani, Irani American. I'm half American. I'm half wherever I came from. So they do both. So there's three types of people. But it's a problem. The identity crisis is a problem. But then there's another factor that complicates the matter even more. And that's the matter of faith. Not only do I have to keep a balance between what? And choose between my original culture, I'm Arab, or my new culture, I'm American. Now there's also the factor of faith. I'm a Muslim too. So do I identify myself just being as an Arab, Iranian, Indian, Pakistani / American? Or am I an Arab Muslim American? I'm an Indian Muslim American. Is Islam also part of my identity or not? Here you find there's also an identity crisis. Some people have a problem in identifying themselves. Now you find some people will tell you that, you know what, I'll do all three. I'm Arab, I'm American, I'm Muslim. There's no problem. We can do all three. I can, identify myself as being all three. Now, yes, most of the times you can, but there are times in which these three or some of them, they clash with one another. I have to choose one over the other. What do I do in those situations? Let me give you an example. Let's say it's New Year's Eve. And that New Year's Eve just happens to fall one year with Laylatul Qadr. Now, being a good American, just a normal American, means I do what? What do most Americans do New Year's Eve? They party, correct? They drink and party. Now, if I want to be 100% American, I have to go party. But if I want to be a devout Muslim, I have to come to the masjid and spend the night in ibadah, yes? So what do I do during New Year's Eve if it's Laylatul Qadr? Or if New Year's Eve falls to be the night of Ashura, it's a night of what? New Year's Eve means I should be happy. Night of Ashura means I should be sad for Imam Hussein. So what do I do here? I'm going to have to choose one over the other. Now, there are some people that try to be slick and clever. He's 2 years at the, at the party. Two hours he's at the party, and then he comes to the masjid for 2 hours, and then he's back at the party. He tries to do both. But as we know, this is not a pragmatic, practical solution. I'm going to have to choose one over the other. Either you take your faith's course, or you take the course of your culture and your new faith. How do I prioritize? How do I choose which one is more important from me? And this, my dear friends, is the key to the weakness of Muslims in America. The key to the weakness of Muslims in America. We see many times we say, why are we Muslims so weak? Is it the numbers? We are, mashallah, hundreds of millions of Muslims throughout the world, 1.5 billion Muslims. And in the US, there's 7 million, so it's not too little. But why are we Muslims in America and in the world in general so weak? Nobody cares about Muslims. Let 100, 200 Muslims die in explosion, nobody cares. It doesn't even make it headlines. Let a Jew die in Israel, they'll put a 2-hour segment in the news about him. Or let a Christian die in Iraq from the Chaldeans, the whole world will cry for him. But let a Shia or even a Sunni die, nobody cares about. Why? Why has the Muslim blood become so cheap? Why doesn't anyone care about Muslims? Why are we so weak? We have the numbers, we have money too, alhamdulillah, the oil is all owned by Muslims, and we have so many merchants, so many wealthy Muslims. So what's the problem? Why are we Muslims so weak? Nobody cares about us, nobody thinks about us, and when you look at the politicians, they could care less about Muslims. In fact, they use Muslims, they attack Muslims to what? To advance in their political games and in their political journeys. And that's why I see from time to time you hear a politician that speaks against Muslim just so he raises more funds or because he has more people. Like you remember Carson a few months ago when he said a Muslim can't be the president of the US. They say that the next 24 hours he made $1 million. And he said we never saw money coming like that. So this shows you what? Attack Muslims and you become more successful. Or for example, you see Trump from time to time he says something against Muslims. Why? Is he really against Muslims? Not necessarily, because he sees when I attack Muslims, people like it. My ratings go up. So if you want your ratings to go up in the US, just say something negative about Muslims. Why? Why have Muslims reached this state? Now, there are a few factors, of course, the terrorism that is happening in the name of Islam, which I'll get to in a minute. But amongst the major reasons why Muslims are so weak and so behind in the US is because of this identity crisis. Because when it comes to identifying themselves, they have a very weak Muslim identity. They try to shy away from being Muslims. They try to run away from being Muslims. They try to lose the beard, change the name, lose the name. Muhammad becomes, like I said, it becomes Michael, Ali becomes Alex. They try to hide under other names, disguises. And you find he's not devout, stay away from salah, stay away from masjid, be liberal. Just so I become what? American, so I can fit in. The girl tries to take off the hijab so that I am not seen as the black sheep, as this weirdo that's wearing the hijab. We try to shy away from our Muslim identity. We have no pride about it. And this is what has happened. You find how many Muslims, they shy away and they run away from their Muslim identity because they have no pride in this country about being a Muslim. They're shy. They're embarrassed for people to even know that they are Muslims. They're embarrassed for people to know that they pray and they go to the masjid and they wear hijab and they do this and that. They have absolutely no pride. Now you may say, it's not because I don't like the religion of Islam. It's because of these terrorists that have destroyed the image of my religion, correct? Because of what they have done to my religion, Islam is looked in such a negative way. That's why I'm shy. I'm ashamed when people know I'm a Muslim. It's because of what they have done. Now, does this justify the fact that I hide under other names and I lose my Muslim identity? I know that this is happening. This is correct. They have distorted the image of our faith and destroyed it. But that does not give me an excuse to abandon, to neglect, to shy away from my faith. No, because this will never solve the problem. You see, Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, those 23 years before he conquered Mecca, before he went to Medina, do you think it was easy inviting people to Islam? Do you think the people accepted him? You don't think people called him names? You don't think people looked at him in a strange way? You don't think he became the black sheep, as they call it, or the outcast? They forced him into exile. They waged wars against him. All he was saying is, I want you to worship Allah and stay away from the idols. Did that prevent Rasulullah from continuing on his journey? Did Rasulullah say, oh, you know what, it's so difficult, I have so much enemies, and they're looking at me in such a bad way, and they were spreading propaganda against Rasulullah? Did that prevent Rasulullah from continuing his journey? Was that an excuse that Rasulullah used? Never. Never. Because once you know you're doing the right thing, it doesn't matter, let the whole world be against me. Let the whole world not like what I'm doing. As long as I am doing the right thing, who cares about the world? Imam al-Hussein alayhi salam, he has such a beautiful word in dua, Arafah, the dua that we read on the day of Arafah, especially if we are in Hajj and Arafah. Amongst the things he says, Ilahi madha wajada man faqadak. What has he found? He who has lost you, Ya Allah. If I own the entire world and everyone is happy with me and loves me, but Allah is upset with me, have I gained anything? Nothing. I'm zero. I'm still at zero. And then he says, وَمَاذَا فَقَدَ مَنْ وَجَدَكَ. And what has he lost? The one that has found you. If Allah is happy with me, if Allah is pleased with me, if I'm doing what Allah thinks is right, who cares about the entire world? Let the entire world look at me in a negative way, in a bad way. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is what matters, not everyone else. Who cares about anyone else? This is how Rasulullah was. If I have that mentality, when I tell Allah, Ya Allah, you are what matters to me and I will do what's right, even if the world turns against me, Allah will make you successful. When you have that courage, when you have that persistence, that perseverance, when you insist on following the haqq, even if you're all by yourself. If I just want to go with the flow, be the majority, of course I'm not going to be successful because I have no principles. The only principle I have is to what? Is to go with the flow, be with others. But when I stick to my principles, this is a law that Allah has placed. Allah says, I will make you successful. Look at Muslims. Do they care about what Allah thinks? Doing what's right? Or do they just want to blend in? All they care about is to please others. What about Allah? Do you care about pleasing Allah? Who cares about Allah? Allah is always on the bottom of the list. How many brothers, they come and tell me that tomorrow I have, for example, a meeting. There's a meeting in my job, in my work, and there will be tables and alcohol will be served on those tables and I will have to sit on that table. Can I do it? They try to get out of it. We surrender so easily. I have to attend the meeting. There's going to be alcohol served because the hadith says it is haram, unlawful to sit on a table where alcohol is served, even if you don't drink. Because amongst the wajibat, the qualities of a believer is al-amr bil-ma'ruf wal-nahi anil-munkar. We have to always forbid the evil. You can't see people drinking alcohol on your table and you just sit and look. No. You don't want to tell them anything? Don't tell them anything, but at least don't sit with them. It is haram to sit on a table where alcohol is being served. So the brother tells me, tomorrow I have a meeting. What do I do? I can't not go to the meeting. How can I tell my boss? What if he doesn't accept? What if he's going to say, what is this guy talking about? This person is trying. We have absolutely no confidence in ourselves. Right away, we try to make excuses. We don't even try. We don't even try to put a fight. Fight, I don't mean physically, but to win the case. We don't even try to, please Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in so many situations. Do you know why? Because we don't care about Allah. I don't want to displease my boss. I don't want to displease my coworkers. But let me displease Allah. Who cares about Allah? A lady comes, she wants to shake my hands. If she extends her hands and I don't shake her hands, she's going to be upset, right? So let me shake her hand so that she's not upset, even if it's at the cost of upsetting Allah. Who cares about Allah? Do we even think about Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is telling you this is haram, you'll upset me? Who cares about Allah? I want to please everyone in the world except God Almighty. Even though there are solutions. I mean, it doesn't have to get to that point where you upset her. There are certain solutions, and we spoke about that last night or one of the other nights. But the point is, God is never on the priority list. And then we say, why are we so weak? Why doesn't God give us success? Did you even care about God? Did you even think about God? Did you do anything for Allah? Like Rasulullah, he did the right thing for Allah. Allah made him triumphant. He conquered Mecca. He conquered the entire Arabian Peninsula, the Muslim empire. Country became the strongest empire of its time. That doesn't come for free. That doesn't come, you have to sacrifice for the haqq, for the truth. You have to have patience. You have to endure some hardships and difficulties for your principles. A successful individual is the one that sacrifices for his principles. He doesn't sacrifice his principles. There's a big difference. There are people that sacrifice their principles. They compromise their principles. They don't care. Just to what? Just to be successful. There are others that sacrifice for their principles. Because of my principles, I will sacrifice. These are the ones that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gives them success. So what do I tell that brother, the one that wanted to sit? I told him, look, I don't want to lecture you the Islamic answer, but let me ask you a question and you can answer yourself after I ask you this question. He says what? I told him, imagine if it was a Jew in America and he was supposed to go to a meeting where he had to go against the Jewish religion in that meeting. Do you think he would accept? Wouldn't he make a big deal out of it? He would come out with full courage and pride. I'm a Jewish man and this is against my Jewish religion and I will not sit. Wouldn't he do that? Most Jews will do that. They're proud about being Jewish. They're strong about it. They have principles and they don't sacrifice their principles. People respect them. Why are Jews so strong in America? We always like to talk against them. Why don't we learn from them from time to time? Did Allah just give them success just for no reason? No, because they have principles. Their Jewish identity is so strong. They will never sacrifice their Jewish identities that they believe in. People, the first time, the second time, when they want you to compromise, the first, second time, they may deem you weak. But if they see you that you're a man of principle, you're men of principle, men and women of principle, they will respect you. If you demand respect, people will respect you. And this is how Jews are. Their Jewish identity is so strong. They're so proud about being a Jew. They will never hesitate in telling you, I'm a Jew. And this is against my religion. I remember, maybe some of you remember, many years ago, in one of the presidential races, one of the candidates was Al Gore, and he said, if I win, he lost, but if I win, my vice president will be Lieberman. He was a Jewish senator. I remember I read in the newspaper somewhere back then that this Jewish senator, he said that if I become the vice president, I will never work on Saturday. Even if there's something that I have to do on Saturday, I will never work on Saturday because this is their sept, their day of holiday, and that they don't work. He said it all courageously. This is America. This is the land, of separation of church and state. But yet he said it. Nobody said anything against him. Yes, because in this country we have to thank Allah that religion is respected. But as long as what? As long as you stay clinging to your religion, you don't back off easily. Wallahi, I remember I thought to myself, if one day a Muslim wants to become president or vice, will he dare say that on Fridays I don't want to work? The Muslims themselves, they will attack him. They will tell him, Habibi, this is not Iraq and Lebanon, this is America. You have to work Fridays. We have absolutely no care, no pride about our religion, and then we want Allah to give us success. Look at the Jews. Sit with a Jew for 2 minutes, he'll tell you, I'm a Jew. He'll tell you indirectly. Sit 5 years with some Muslims, you won't know he's a Muslim.
Jewish people are educated, the highly educated people.
Thank you, sister. Thank you. Inshallah, in the Q&A, you can give us some input. So, what was I saying? Sallu ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. So the problem with us Muslims is we surrender too easily. As soon as my boss makes a threat, you know what? You have to come? Oh, okay, fine, I'll come. Tell him, this is my religion, this is America, you have to respect my religion. If you don't, I'll file a lawsuit against you. The second time, he won't dare tell you that. When it's for religious purposes, it is considered religious discrimination if they don't allow you. You want to pray. Some brothers, they tell me, I can't pray Salatul Dhuhr Asr because my boss doesn't let me. Tell him, if you don't let me pray 5 minutes, then I'll go file a lawsuit against you. And if we do, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will give us success. In 2008, there was a young Muslim girl by the name of Samantha Eloff. Google her. She went and she applied for a job in Abercrombie's clothing store. She wears hijab. They did the interview. Everything was perfect. She was the right woman. But then the interviewer, she looks, There's a hijab. Oh, I'm sorry, you've been denied because of your hijab. Because your hijab doesn't fit with our, clothing style or whatever. So she asked why. They said, everything's perfect except your hijab. She said, so you're discriminating against my hijab. She went and she filed a lawsuit. She won the lawsuit, but then the lawsuit was taken to a higher level, I don't know, the state level or something. They overturned it against her. She lost it. So then she took it up to the, what? She took it up to the Supreme Court. Until 2015, 7 years. You see, she didn't surrender. She said, you discriminate against my hijab? I'll show you. She took it up to the Supreme Court until in 2015, I'm sure you heard about it last year, it was all over the news. The Supreme Court ruled in her favor that she was discriminated against and they have to compensate her. Now, next time a muhajjaba, hijabi girl goes to Abercrombie, you think they will deprive her of her job? Never. Because she taught them a lesson. If all Muslims were like that, when someone threatens you because of your religion, you can't pray, you can't wear hijab, you have to sit on the table, alcohol is being served, whatever. If all Muslims become like this, strong about their Muslim identity, and they're courageous, and they don't back down and surrender, you'll see how Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will give us success. That's how the Jews became successful. They will never back down. So this is one problem we have, is that we keep on shying away and surrendering and quitting too easily. When the enemy or whoever, not just the enemy, when others see us we're so weak, they're not going to respect us. Just threaten him once, he's going to run away. Why would he respect me? You see, we Muslims, we want everything to be given to us. Your rights aren't given to you. You have to go and take it. We just want to sit in our houses and sleep, and we want them to treat us equally and do this. No, you have to go and earn this. These things are not, these rights and freedoms and liberties aren't always given to you on a gold platter. You have to go and take it and earn it. So this is one problem we have. And the second problem is that after we shy away from our identity, we try to disguise ourselves in a fake other identity. What do I mean? I remember once a young child, like a 15-year-old or 14-year-old, he came to me and he asked me, Sayyid, it was close to Christmas time. Is it okay for a Muslim to celebrate Christmas or not? Is it halal? Is it okay or not? Now, I didn't tell him, I didn't give him the halal or haram answer. What I told him is, look, you're a Muslim. When you celebrate Christmas, what are you celebrating? You see, the Holy Quran always tells us, don't just go with the flow because people do it. You have to know what you're celebrating. What are you celebrating? It's either one of two. It's either just because everyone else is doing it without understanding it. This is not a quality of a Muslim, just to do what other people are doing. Or, if you ask many Christians, they will tell you we are celebrating the birthday of Jesus, correct? Many Christians, they consider that Christmas is the birthday of Jesus. So I tell him, do you want to celebrate the birthday of Jesus? He says, yes. I tell him, that's okay. We accept Jesus. He's a prophet. We respect him. But I told him, you don't have a prophet of your own. You have to go and celebrate another prophet's birthday. How about the birthday of our Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam? Do you celebrate it? The birthday of Imam Ali, do you celebrate it? You don't celebrate the birthday of your prophet and your imam, and you want to go celebrate the birthday of another prophet of another religion? Why don't you take some pride in your own belief, in your own imams, and your own leaders? You see, I remember once I was in a gathering and I asked mostly youth, maybe 200. I asked them, how many of you know when the birthday of Jesus is? Everyone, Christmas. Question number 2, how many of you know when the birthday of Prophet Muhammad is? You know how many people raise their hands? 15 people. You're a Muslim. You don't know when the birthday of your prophet is, but you know when the birthday of Jesus is, and you celebrate that and you forget about your prophet. And then you ask, why are we Muslims so weak? Because we're not even Muslims. We're only Muslims by name. When the birthday of Rasulullah comes, hold the celebration and then come and celebrate Christmas. That's okay. But when you forget about your prophet, you want to celebrate the birthday of Jesus? Doesn't make sense. Not haram, but doesn't make sense. So I told that individual that, look, you want to celebrate the birthday of Jesus? Fine. But when the birthday of Rasulullah, and it is the 17th of Rabi' al-Awwal, when the 17th of Rabi' al-Awwal comes, you bring a Christmas tree 5 times bigger than the one you brought for Jesus. And you bring a Santa Claus 5 times fatter than the one you brought for Jesus. If you do that, then that's fine. When mid Sha'ban comes, which is the birthday of our 12th Imam, the Imam of our time, how come we find 50 people, 100 people in the masjid? Where are they? How come they're not celebrating the birthday of their Imam? But in Christmas, he wants to put lights on his house and Christmas tree. Doesn't make sense. Are you a Muslim or are you a Christian? Identify yourself. Make your identity clear, and then we'll know how to deal with that. So this is a problem that we have. The Jews, you find they're successful here. Have you guys seen a Jew celebrate Christmas? Rarely. Most Jews don't celebrate Christmas because to them, Christmas is what? Maybe if he's real liberal, maybe. But especially devout Jews, they don't celebrate Christmas because they don't even accept Jesus to begin with. I mean, practically, even if they don't say it, when Jesus was sent to Bani Israel, most of them, what? They said, you're a liar. Why didn't Jews accept Christianity? They said, this Jesus guy was a liar. So why am I going to come and celebrate the birthday of a liar? You rarely find Jews celebrate Christmas. Why? Because they have their own holidays. They don't need Christmas. They have Hanukkah. They have, I don't know what, their own. Is Hanukkah for Jews, by the way? Is it? Yalla, if it is, then alhamdulillah. So you find that with their own identity, they're very strong with their Jewish identity. Very proud about it. I remember once I was in Florida. I was lecturing in one place, and they told me there is a city in Florida. It's a small city, just like, for example, Dearborn Heights. It's mostly Jews. And the city council is run by the Jews. They said they're so strong that they were able to pass a law banning the Christmas tree in Christmas, in the streets. You want a Christmas tree in your houses. This is in the United States of America, not in Israel. They banned the Christmas tree in an entire, why? Because they held a vote, and you know they're always so involved and strong. They banned the Christmas tree in America, and then we Muslims, we run after the Christmas tree. 6 million Muslims, according to some statistics, and 6 million Jews. But what a great difference there is. It's as if there are 60 million or 200 million Jews and 1,000 Muslims. So it's not about the quantity. The quantity is the same. It's about the quality. It's about how you identify yourself and how proud you are about your faith. Now, what can we do to solve this? Two things. Number one, you might say, well, we have the problem of terrorism and ISIS and all these people that are destroying the image of our Islam. That's correct. But however, that's not an excuse for me to shy away, run away. Because you see, it's our fault that ISIS, and I will always speak about this, and I spoke about this the previous nights. It's our fault that the extremists have spoken in our name. Why? Because we have stayed silent. When I stay silent, all I care about is my business and my family. Of course, other people will come. You'll have the propaganda of Fox News speak for you. You'll have ISIS speak for you because you're so busy doing other things. So what we have to do, my friends, we have to educate others, the non-Muslims, the Americans, about Islam. Trust me, most of them are ignorant. They're not haters or people that just because of hatred. No, it's because they have been misled. Whatever they hear from Fox News, they believe it. Whatever they hear from Trump, they believe it. They think this is divine revelation. Especially the ones that live in the middle states, the ones that live in the in the villages, the smaller cities. Most of them, they have absolutely no clue what Islam is. I mentioned this, I think, one time here, that there was a survey conducted in the US by CARE. They conducted a survey to find out how much people know about Islam. The survey, subhanAllah, you'd be surprised, 60% of Americans, this was with Americans, especially in places where the smaller cities where there aren't too many Muslims, 60% said we're clueless about Islam. We don't know what Muslims believe in. We have no clue what Muslims believe. And 10%, this is the funny but also sad part, 10% believe that Muslims worship the moon. This is what 10% of Americans believe, that we worship the moon. And next week you'll understand why, when everyone's looking for the moon. Because they want Eid to be one day earlier. So, when there's so much ignorance, of course there's going to be these prejudices, there's going to be these misconceptions about Islam. And some people, they say, you know what, in order for me to get rid of this problem, we have to all be liberals. Don't go to the masjid, go to the bar. Don't go to the masjid, go somewhere else. Stay away from these religious places so that we're not what? We're not associated with the terrorists. This will never solve the problem. As long as you look like a Muslim, as long as your name is a Muslim, unless you go and change your name like some people did, then you will still be a target. You will still be what? Looked down upon. The only way that we could fix the problem is to educate other people. We have to tell them about Islam. Islam has the worst marketing in the world. You see, it's the best product, the worst marketing. If you have the best product, but you don't advertise it, will anyone buy it? Never. Put it in your basement, nobody knows about it. Wallahi, no one will buy it. You have to advertise it. If you have the worst product, advertise it, well, everyone will buy it. Look, cigarettes, alcohol, so much junk you see in the stores. People buy it because of the good advertising, correct? Islam, the best religion, the worst advertising. You have these ISIS fighters, they are representing Islam. The Wahhabis are representing Islam. So we have to speak up against these terrorists and educate other people. And we have to show them. And I spoke about this, like I said, we have to show them that we are against these individuals. That we, just like you're a victim of ISIS and these terrorists and these Wahhabis, I am a victim too. Like I mentioned in Iraq and in Kuwait and Saudi Arabia and Lebanon, Syria. Every day Shias are being killed by these Wahhabis. So I'm a victim too. We are the moderates. We've been a silent majority of moderates, but now we have to become vocal. We can no longer afford just going about our lives because they are what? They are putting us in the same basket with ISIS. Now these Americans, these uneducated Americans living in the Middle States, in the US, when they see us, they see ISIS. They see ISIS. So don't be surprised if one day, there'll be even hate crimes against Muslims, because when they see us all as terrorists, of course that will be the problem. So we have to show them that we're not against America. These terrorists try their best to show that Islam hates America. Muslims hate the West. We have to show them, no, we have no problem with America. When our countries didn't, embrace us, America, Canada, wherever these Muslims went, they embraced us. They gave us citizenship. They gave us wealth, my health, my education is from here. In our countries, we cannot practice our religion freely. Here we can. And then we say, we don't like America. Of course, we love America. There's nothing problem with saying that. You will not find the respect, even with the problems that you have now, you will not find the respect that you will find in your countries. So we tell them we don't have a problem. The only problem we have is with some of the political, policies of the government. But that could be changed. That has nothing to do with the majority of the people. These are the evil politicians. We have a problem with some of the policies of the US towards the Middle East. That could be changed. If we enter politics, we can change it. Correct? If we have lobbyist groups, we enter politics, we have senators, representatives, inshallah, one day even the president, then we can change that. And that's why I always urge Muslims that, enter the realm of politics. City council, mayor, go higher, House of Representatives, even judge. We do have some, but it's not enough. Senator, and so on, governor, and so on. So enter this realm. The realm of journalism. Do you know that the media is how strong it is here? All the information people get is from media. How many Muslim journalists do we have? There was a journalist working in one of the famous newspapers in the US. He told one of the scholars here in the US, he told him that, when I compare you Muslims and the Jews, you know what I see? When anytime we write any bad article against the Jews or Israel, when we criticize Israel or the Jews, the next day we're bombarded by thousands of emails, phone calls, letters. We will sue you. Right away we back off, we apologize, because they threaten us legally. And if we say something good about the Jews, they send us a check, thank you, so many letters. They encourage us. But you Muslims, whether we talk for you or against you, nobody cares. We never receive an email. Let someone go in the newspaper and damn all Muslims and kill. Muslims will not even send one email to that. If someone praises the Muslims in the newspapers, Muslims don't care. They're busy with their own lives. He says, put yourself in my situation. Would you care about the Muslims? Of course not, because they don't care about themselves. But the Jews, no. They're so directed, they're so focused. So of course, they're going to fear the Jews. They're going to, they're going to think about them and consider them. They have to think 5 times before they want to say something for or against the Jews. Because they're strong and because they're vocal. And one of the best ways, my dear brothers and sisters, one of the best ways to improve the image of Islam is by your actions. Actions, they say, speak louder than words. You don't have to go and preach about Islam. If you're a good-mannered, law-abiding, I concentrate on law-abiding citizen, then people will respect Muslims. Because when an American hears on Fox News, Muslims are this, bad, bad, radical, but then he sees his Muslim neighbors are such good, honest people, law-abiding people, he'll know this is nonsense, this is propaganda. Unfortunately, Muslims, they have done the opposite. That's why go to the cities in America where they have high concentration of Muslims. You know some of the cities, I will not bring their names. What are the Muslims known for there? Tax fraud, insurance fraud. They lie to the government. He goes and burns his house, or he goes and he breaks his car or gets in an accident. And just so what? Just so he can go and take some money from the insurance. The insurance are not idiots. They know when it's when it's real and when it's fraud. So the Muslims, unfortunately, you see in their areas the insurance rates are so much higher than other places because they know this is a fraud area. This is what Muslims are associated with: liars, dishonest. This is the biggest disservice I'm doing to Islam. But when I show that we're good, honest people, this is the best da'wah, the best propagation I'm doing for my faith. There was a nice article I read. It was a very beautiful article in one of the small newspapers. It was about a female professor at Witherspoon Institute in Princeton, New Jersey. It's a famous institute there. She's a professor there. She says that one summer I received an intern, a young Muslim man by the name of Muhammad, who she says he was Shia also. She says, I looked at his resume before he came to the interview to be my intern. He was very, very, perfect resume, perfect grades, perfect scores, and he had a perfect, excellent resume. So when he came, he entered my office. She says, I extended my hand to shake his hand. He said, I'm sorry. For religious purposes, I'm sorry. She says, when he did that, I was shocked. This guy is such a hater. This guy is a misogynist. He's anti-feminist. He disrespected me just because she says, this is what I thought. That just because I'm female, he hates females, he looks down at females, he doesn't want to shake my hands. Even though he told her it's for religious purposes, it's not because I have anything personal. She says, but despite this, he was very, very polite. He would always smile, very well-mannered, well-behaving. She says, I didn't like that at all, but I said, let me give him a shot. So I accepted him. She said he turned out to be the best intern. He listens to me attentively. He never disobeys me. He does everything. I tell him high respect he has for me when he speaks to me, when he addresses me. He brings gifts. He's so polite, so humble. She says that, you know what? This young man, I misjudged him. Just because he refused to shake my hand, I thought he's the worst person. But I saw his manners are the best of manners. And people have their, religious freedom. They could believe in what they believe. So she says he taught me such a valuable lesson that I shouldn't judge people just because of one thing. And you see what a beautiful lesson this young man taught her. Just because he kept his manners well, he did the best propaganda. If he would have given 10 lectures about Islam, 50 lectures, it would not have benefited as much as what? As much as the fact that he was well-behaving. He was a polite Muslim. He was a respectful Muslim. So she says now, whoever does that again to me, I will never misjudge. I have so much respect for this young man, Muhammad. So when he's such a bright man, of course he will have a good reason for not wanting to shake my hand. So this is number one. We have to be loud, and especially with our actions. And number two, if we become successful one day, we have to be loud about being Muslims. You see, some people think Muslims are not successful. It's all the low-paying jobs, the low jobs. That's not true. But what is true? Most Muslims in the US and in the West, when they become successful, they lose their Muslim identity. Muhammad becomes what? Becomes Michael. How would you know he's Muslim? His success doesn't reflect back on Islam because he loses that Muslim identity because he wants to blend in. So if we become successful people one day, we have to let the world know that we are the Muslims, not those ISIS, the doctors, the lawyers, the journalists, the politicians, the scientists, the engineers, and so on and so forth. Tell them I'm Muslim. We're the Muslims. We're the educated people. Unfortunately, now it's the opposite. The ones that have the lower jobs, they're so proud about being Muslims. They tell everyone. The successful Muslims, quiet. You don't even know if he's a Muslim. And this is even reflected in Hollywood. If you remember, there was a movie by the name of The Siege. I don't know, maybe 10, 15 years ago, I remember it. There were two Muslims in this movie. One was the terrorist, and the other was the FBI agent. The terrorist, anytime they would show him, he's praying, reading dua. But the FBI, he's also Muslim, never prays, absolutely not devout. The first one is devout. But the second one, who's an FBI law-abiding, he never, ever, does anything, worships God or reflects that, that image, that he's a faithful individual. So what's the image they try to give? That the devout Muslims are the ones that go against the law, the uneducated. But the Muslims that become educated and become what? Become prosperous, they become liberal, secular. We have to show this is wrong. I could be a good, practicing, devout Muslim and at the same time be successful. And I don't have much time, maybe 2 minutes, so I'll quickly mention. I'll tell you some examples we have of how many Muslim successful people we have. Now, when someone tells you Muslims are the terrorists, tell them no, Muslims are the successful individuals. And let me give you some examples real quick. Number one, eBay. Who's bought from eBay before? Do you know eBay was founded and owned by a Muslim? But unfortunately, he doesn't say I'm Muslim. I had to dig to find out if these people are true. He's Muslim, but he tries to hide it. The problem that we spoke about. So it doesn't reflect back to Islam. A man by the name of Pierre Omidyar, he's Iranian. He's the one that established eBay, and he runs it. YouTube. Who doesn't watch YouTube? Every day we watch videos on YouTube. He was co-founded by two people. It was co-founded by two people. One of the co-founders was a man by the name of Jawad Karim from Bangladesh, Muslim. I mean, his name is obvious. Number three, the chairman of Twitter right now is a Muslim by the name of Omid Kurdistani. He's also Iranian. Number four, the Coca-Cola company. The CEO of the Coca-Cola company is a Muslim, Turkish man, Muhtar Kent. Now, like I mentioned, these are not practicing Muslims. But even if they don't want to pray, at least tell the world I'm Muslim. So when people hear of Islam, they think of successful people, not the terrorists, but unfortunately they don't. Number five, the clothing store BB. B-E-B-E, I don't know how you pronounce it. Founded and owned by a Muslim Iranian man, Mani Mash'ouf. Dropbox, it was co-founded by also a Muslim by the name of Arash Ferdowsi. Number seven, Hussein Islambulchi. This is obviously an Iranian man, is Islambulchi. One of the most prominent scientists of the 21st century. He lives in Texas, and he was the chief technology officer of AT&T for many years. Number eight, Muhammad Al-Uryan. He used to be the CEO of a company that held assets $2 trillion. Fuad Al-Hibri, he's the CEO of Bioport, and he, through his company, he was able to discover the vaccine, the only vaccine for anthrax. Remember anthrax? A few years ago, it was all over the news. The only vaccine available for it was by this man. And the list goes on, but I have run out of time. So the point I'm trying to make is there are Muslim successful people. So many successful Muslims. But they don't make it clear to the non-Muslim world and to the Americans that we're Muslims. They try to shy away from being a Muslim. And the ones that make sure that people know they're Muslims are the uneducated, the uncivilized, and the terrorists. And this is where Islam is at today. If we want Allah to give us success, we have to make sure that we have that prideness about Islam. And we have to give Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala a share. I ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to accept our a'mal, to forgive us, to accept our fasting during this blessed month of Ramadan. Wa akhiru da'wana an alhamdulillahi rabbil alameen. Wa sallallahu ala Muhammadin wa alihi at-tahirin.